screen. Is everybody seeing my screen?
Yes, we are.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Right, so for this morning's session, I will just start off by doing a brief presentation to put some context into things before we get into the actual site itself. So a lot of y'all would have been on the session that we would have had earlier this week, where we would have showed you how to pre-qualify, and some of the things that we'll be going over this morning will be very similar in terms of creating your account, etc. So once again, my name is Gabrielle Gabo from the TSCT team. And on today's agenda, we'll be covering several areas. We'll be going over exactly what eTender is, how you go about creating your account and logging onto the system, how you can access the user guides and FAQs. We will see some of the dashboard navigation features, as well as how you would be notified of if you are invited to participate in a tendering event or an RFX event, how you'd go about purchasing or downloading an RFX package, as well as how you would upload your bid responses, edit your bid responses, post questions, and then we will address the questions and answers that you would have posted in the chat. So what exactly is eTender? eTender is an innovative cloud-based e-procurement solution which revolutionizes tedious manual and routine procurement management. The solution would allow clients to easily collaborate, which is E-IDCOT, to easily collaborate and conduct business with you, their vendors. Through the application, like we would have seen earlier this week, you can be invited to pre-qualify and also participate in RFX events. And this is done all via the World Wide Web. So you are required to have access to the internet, a secure, stable connection, and the preferred browser for the application as well is Google Chrome. So what is in it for you? It will, one, increase the efficiency with which you conduct your business. So no longer would you have to, drive or be in traffic or make whatever arrangements to have your tender responses dropped off in a tender box, for example, if it is a public tender, or a tender that requires you to physically come in and drop it off. You can now do this in the convenience of your home. You would upload your file securely via the application. The system does allow for some vendor self-management, where you would be responsible for managing your own account. The system would also be a repository for you as the vendor to have all of your invitations in a centralized location. So no longer would you have to go in your email and search to see when Kalisha would have sent an email inviting you to participate in a tender. You would log onto the application and there you would have visibility of all the RFX events or pre-qualifications, etc., that you have been invited to participate in. As well, it allows for streamlined, speedy communication. So as we get through the presentation, we would see where the solution allows you to post questions, receive responses, as well as it provides automatic notifications along the way as reminders for you that certain things are due or that you have submitted your packages, so that you have for your own record management, all of the files that you would need, etc. And just overall sustainability, because no longer would you have to print out 3 or 4 packages. You would just be uploading one package into the application itself, as well as protecting the environment in terms of the gassy toxin emissions from you having to commute, etc. So let's begin. Okay, so E-IDCOT has its unique eTender URL, which we see to the top of the screen here, right? I believe it's on their Facebook page. If not, you can take note of it here right now. They would have also sent it in email communications to you. This is the URL that you need in order to access and do business with E-IDCOT via the e-tender application. So what we do suggest to vendors is that you bookmark this page, right? To ensure ease of access every time you decide to log into your account. So you don't have to constantly be remembering what the URL is. So once the page is bookmarked, you would see this page here, right? Where you have a space to enter a username and password. Before you'll be able to do that, if it's the first time you're coming in to use the application, you'll be required to create an account. Creating an account is very, very simple. Very similar to if you create an Amazon account. You would go to this create an account button here. And once you click on this, it will open up another screen that prompts you to enter basic company information. So you'd have to enter your company name, contact number, address, etc. Very simple, basic information. You would also be prompted to enter a username and a password. And when those credentials that you would have provided when creating an account is what you would use when it's time to log into the application itself. If it is you would like to familiarize yourself some more with the process, before you start, you can also click on this View or FAQs tab right here, and this button will open a frequently asked document that also provides very detailed instructions and information that's pertinent to you using the e-tender application. So once you create your account, in terms of you have entered all the necessary information, you would receive an email notification like this, giving you an activation code, right? It's important for you to note that the activation code for security purposes is only valid for 15 minutes. So you would be invited to click on the Activate My Account, and you would copy and paste this code when you're prompted to do so. And now you'll be available to have access to the system, right? So you would enter the information here and press Activate Your Account. So upon attempting to create an e-tender account, some vendors may encounter errors when registering, right? So we have three scenarios here. The first scenario is where you would get a message saying suspicious activity. We would have recently implemented the latest version of reCAPTCHA, and sometimes based on the websites that persons would have visited that collect cookies, etc., you may get a message like this. And if you do, like the one on the left that we're looking at right here, with the suspicious activity, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a virus or that your computer is infected. It may just mean that you need to clear your cache. So we do recommend to vendors that they either clear their cache or try a different browser, right? At times, you may forget your credentials and you would get this error message here saying login credentials incorrect. You would have 3 attempts to enter the correct information before your account will be locked. And again, this is a security feature. If you forgot your password, you can simply, after the second attempt, you see you still get an error message. Don't risk it. Just click on Forget Password, and you'll be prompted to create a new password, which you can use to log into the application. If, however, you've exhausted your 3 attempts, you would then have to contact E-IDCOT in order for them to unlock the account for you to have access. Right? And this is what we see on the right-hand side here, where it says failed attempts reached. So this is if you try more than 3 times, you would get this error message where it says you would have to reach out to E-IDCOT. So great. So what I would do now is that what we see on the screen here, I would log into the application for you to see what the screen looks like. You'll actually see me entering my user credentials, etc. But when you're invited to participate in a RFX event, it can happen in 2 ways, right? it can either be through a public tender or a selective tender. If it's for a public tender, you will not receive this email notification here unless it is when you are setting up your account, you select your preferences for categories that you would like to receive notifications for, which I will share with you. If, however, you've been selectively invited, as you would see here on this prompted by this email, you would see the email will tell you that you've been selected to bid for a particular RFX, and it will invite you to log into the application to view the package to see if it is something that you would like to participate in. So I will stop sharing this particular screen, and I'm going to log into the application now to show you exactly how you'd log in, etc. Right. So as everybody's seeing my screen now, you should be seeing something saying Angostura, and this is just our demo environment for the purposes of the session. Can someone respond so I can know that y'all are seeing?
Yes, we are.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So as a vendor, you would have entered your information in the URL, or you would have gone and saved it in your bookmark. So for persons who don't know how to bookmark, I'm just going to show you quickly how you can do so. So the first time you use the link to access E-IDCOT's e-tender application, it will show up here automatically, right, in your browser. You can simply click on these three dots, go to bookmarks, and press, sorry, I already have this page bookmark, but it'll give you the option to save the page, and you'll just save it there. But this is where, when we say bookmark a page, is these three buttons, clicking on bookmarks. And because I have it bookmarked already, it's not showing up, where the link will show up in a separate box, and you will just have to press save, right? So we reach a step now where you would have already created your user account. So you have to enter your username and password, right? Please remember, when logging onto the application, your username is not your email address. The username would have been the user credentials that you would have entered when creating an account, where it prompted you to enter a username. So I will show you quickly where you click on create an account. You would have to accept the terms and conditions. You then click next, and you would see it's just basic information that the system is asking you to enter, right? So you just populate that information. Very simple. You'd select what type of business you are. Depending on what you select, other drop-down information would be populated for you to enter. So I'm just putting in some test data here, and you click next. So you see, if it is a field is required and you don't enter it, the system will prompt you to enter the information before you're able to move along in the process. At this point, you'd put your name, so the full name of the representative, who may be the person who owns the company, the email address here. This is very important because this is the email address that would receive all notifications which the system generates. So some clients may use the email address of a particular employee who has responsibility for responding to tenders. I'd just like to say, if it is you are not the owner of the organization, please try to use a generic email that the organization has set up, just to avoid, to ensure ease of access and continuity in the event that the employee no longer is at the organization, right? So say you would have set up E-IDCOT tender email for your particular organization, right? You put that email address here. This is the username that I'm talking about that you'd be using to enter when you're logging on to the application. So you decide whatever your username is and your unique password. This information that you put right here is what you'll be using when you actually log on to the application itself, right? Good. So I'm going back now to show we've created the account. So I'm just entering my credentials. Once my credentials are entered, I simply click on login, right? When you log on to the application, what you would see here is a summary of all the tendering activities that you have been invited to participate in, be it public or selective, right? So you would have a dashboard here letting you know the status, if it is closed, open, etc. Right? On the left-hand side of the screen, what we have here is our navigation pane. And for the RFX purposes, you would simply go to RFX options, where you would see a list of all RFXs, which is what is automatically displayed when you now log on to the application, or you go to My Purchase RFXs, and this will list out the RFXs or the RFPs, etc., that you would have either purchased, or if it was made for purchase, or downloaded for free. It doesn't mean that you would have participated in it. It just means that you would have downloaded the file to view it, to see if it's something that you are interested in participating in. So you'd also see the date that it was issued, as well as the expiration date of the particular tendering event. So one of the important things as well, in order for you to receive notifications for public tenders of a specific category, you can simply click on this icon here, this eye icon, right? And click on preferences. When you click on preferences, all of the categories which E-IDCOT has will pop up here. And you can click on the ones for which you want to receive email notification for, right? So if it is a public tender and you select office furniture as your category that you would like to receive notifications for, when a public tender is issued, for that particular category, you will receive an email notifying you that this is now available for you to view and participate in. This is only for public tenders, right? Obviously, for a selective tender, you will automatically receive an email. Yeah. So we're going back to the list of all RFXs, right? We would see that E-IDCOT has a particular tender here, and it is open. For the purposes of the demo, I did do a public tender, right? So in order for you to view the particular tender to see if it's something that you want to participate in, you would simply click on the link. A pop-up would show, which summarizes information about the particular tendering activity. So depending on what E-IDCOT enters when they're creating the event, you will see information here telling you more about the activity, right? You can also click on View RFP Info for more information. You would see the status of the tender, the date it's posted, as well as the date is intended to expire. For you to view the actual package, or if there's a cost assigned to the particular tender, instead of saying free, it will say purchase, right? So the button on the right-hand side is where you would click to do that. If there was a cost assigned to the particular tender, you would then be prompted to enter your credit card information before the tender would be able to be viewed by you. Once you complete that step, so for this particular purpose, it was a free tender, right? So when I clicked on it, it automatically, I didn't have to enter any credit card information, obviously, because it was free. I would receive a notification letting me know success. It says payment was successful, but it just means that you have successfully downloaded the particular package, right? So after that is completed, what I will do is go back to the RFX options and go to My Purchased RFXs, where I would see the tender, which I just clicked to download, provision of office chairs available for me. So I would click on it and view RFP info, right? This is where this button where it says download, this is where the actual RFP package will be for you to view. You would click on download and you would see the file, right? It will download automatically to your desktop. You click on it and you'll be able to view the RFP in more details to see exactly what it is required of you, right? Once you successfully purchase an RFP document as well, you would receive an email notification letting you know that you have successfully purchased the package. As well, in your account, you would have a record of the receipt, the confirmation of receipt that you had purchased the particular package as well, right? So this is here for your records tied to each tendering event that you participate in. So when I was saying that the system provides a centralized repository for your data and for your record keeping, you would all see it here. So you can easily retrieve it for a future reference. If it is, your accounting department requires it, you have proof that you would have purchased, and obviously if there was a cost assigned to it, you would see all that information here. You can easily click and print this receipt as well. So to participate now actually in uploading your tender response, you can either click on upload tender from here, or you go back to RFX options, my purchase RFXs, click on the event itself and go to upload tender. So there are two options. It can either be done right here or on the right hand side. You have a question? No? Okay. So remember, you would have created your response offline, and now you're ready to submit your package to E-IDCOT.
Hi, Gabby, excuse, you got muted.
Oh, okay. So where did you not hear from?
To purchase a package. The last thing you said.
Sure. Okay, apologies for that. So to purchase so I'll just start over from where you're going to purchase the package, right? Remember, when you log onto the application, like I said, you would have this list of all the RFPs that you could participate in, right? This is the one that you would have either received an email notification for, letting you know that you can participate in this event. You click on it. You also have to purchase a package already. You heard up to that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now we are going to either view the information in greater detail. So we go to view RFP, right? When we go here, this download button is where you would click on to access the file or the RFP document that E-IDCOT would have issued. So in a manual environment, it would have been a package that would have been emailed to you or that you had to physically go and pick up. Now you just be logging onto the application, clicking the download button, and the file will download for you. You would then obviously click on it to view it, etc., to see all of the requirements expected of you. Once the package has been reviewed and you have prepared your responses offline in your Word document, etc., you would need to save it as a PDF file, right? Once it's saved as PDF, because the system accepts PDF documents, and this is just to ensure the integrity of your bid as well as the security of the application is maintained, you would click on the upload tender button here to upload your tender response, right? Or you go back to RFX options, my purchase RFXs. You click on the tender that you're participating in, or you click and you can click the upload button here as well. So there are two ways for you to upload two avenues for you to upload your responses, either through the upload tender directly or through view RFP info and the upload tender button below here, right? So once you click on it, you would see a counter pop up on the screen. Now the counter lets you know how many days or how much time is left for you to participate in the tendering event. So you see, I still have 4 days before the tender closes, right? I'll be prompted to accept the terms and conditions. So you would check this box right here, click on next. At this point, you will be prompted to enter the value, which is the financial response that you would be submitting, so the total value of your RFP or quotation, etc., right? So you have to enter it in words and figures. Once that is done, you click on next. At this point, you would see the tender upload file. It does remind you that you need to upload a PDF document. This is where you would be uploading your tender response. So the same package that you would have dropped off physically at E-IDCOT or emailed back to them, you are now clicking on this box here and uploading the file that you would have saved on your desktop, etc. This is your package, right? Once the file is uploaded, you would see a tick letting you know that it was successfully uploaded. You click on next, right? Something that's very important is that once you do that, this screen will appear. You don't want to just click on complete submission. You have to come here and click verify the data. So the system gives you the option to make sure that you do want to submit your response, and you would click on that you have verified that the information you submitted is correct by clicking on this toggle here. And only when the toggle is green and says yes, which is why, you would press complete submission. Once you complete your submission, you would see a message letting you know success, your upload was successful, right? And an automatic email will be sent to you notifying you that you have successfully submitted your bid. So this is very similar, or the same process now being done virtually of you going and putting your response in the tender box, right? The key thing to remember is at the end of the process to click on the toggle saying that you have verified the information before you click the submit button. Before the closing date and time of the tender, if you do have to edit your package or your response, you are free to do so as well, right? So I'm just going to show you the email notifications that you would see. Are you all seeing my email?
Yes, we are.
Okay, perfect. So if you look here, you would see that I have an email from eTender online. I'll click on it and you would see it tells me that I have successfully uploaded my response for this particular tendering activity, right? So along the way, the system does give you notifications on every step of the process, which helps with the audit trail and that transparency into the activities that you're doing, right? So in order for you to say, for example, the tender hasn't closed and you've decided that you want to edit your response, you want to change your price or something like that, you can easily do so before the tender closes, right? And we do ask persons as well when uploading their tender responses to give yourself sufficient time. You never know what can happen. So at least an hour or two before the tender closes, upload your responses. Give yourself some time in the event that something happens and you require additional support. You don't wait till the last minute, right? So to edit your response, you would go back into RFX options. Sorry, into tender options, uploaded tenders. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, my purchase RFXs, and we would go on the tender that we would have submitted our response for previously, right? Every time you have to edit your tender, you need to think of it as if you went into the box and physically took it out, right? So it'll require you to put it back in. You would go back to the upload tender button and you would complete the process again to upload your response. But remember, it's very simple. It's just about 4 steps. So I wanted to edit my pricing information. So I'm changing my price to 3,000. I press next and I would have to re-upload the file that I would have submitted previously or the new file because say I made a change on the actual package itself. So I'm uploading my new file. I go to next. And again, very important that you verify the information before you press complete submission. If you don't do this, then the submission wouldn't show as complete, right? Again, I will get the notification letting me know that it was successful, and I would receive the same email letting me know that I successfully submitted a bid. So throughout the process, you may have a question that you may need to ask about a particular tender and event. You would simply come to your dashboard navigation pane on the left where it says questions, compose new queries, so very similar to generating an email. You would have to select the RFP that you would want to pose the question for. And you'd only be able to ask questions, obviously, on packages, on tender events that are open and which you have downloaded or purchased, right? So the event that I was participating in is this one here. I would click on that. And I have the option to select the category of the question that I want to ask. So it's just a general question, right? So I'm just clicking general. You can also enter a subject. So I want to find out about audited financials. So I'm just putting that in the subject of my question. And you have the opportunity to attach any files that you would want to as well. You don't have to attach files, but if you do have something that you want to attach, you can do so. So in the body of the box, your email or your question box, you'd simply type in your question. Right? Once you enter your question, you would click on send a message. And once the message is sent, you would receive a message notifying you that it was successful. The personnel at E-IDCOT will receive an email notification as well, notifying them that someone has asked a question about the particular tender. They would log into the application on their side and post their tender response, right? Once they post their response, everybody who has purchased the package would receive the response along with the original question, right? They will not see who the question was from, but they will just see the question that was asked. Good. So once you submit the question, I'm just showing you, you'll see in the slideshow here. Hello? Kamesha, can you let me know if you are seeing?
I am just seeing your Google screen.
Okay, no problem. Right. So you will receive an email notification once you submit your question that will look like this, letting you know that, that your question has been, please be advised that your question was submitted, right? So a confirmation receipt. When the question is responded to, you would also receive an email notification letting you know that your question has been answered. It will post, like I said, the original question. Do I have to submit audited financials? And it will prompt you to, and you would also see the response. You can log back into the application itself as well at any point in time and view your inbox to see all the questions that you would have asked as it pertains to the particular tender and the responses which E-IDCOT would have issued. So really that brings me to the end of how you would go about uploading your tender responsible one, how you go about purchasing your tender packages, how you would submit your response, how you then edit your tender, as well as how you go about asking questions, which is some of the basic functionality that you would be using for the RFX part of the application in terms of you responding to particular tender and activity which E-IDCOT would have issued. So at this time, I can take any questions that persons have.
Okay, sure. So if you have any question, can you unmute your mic so we can have it answered if you have any question now?
Do you think that the process was pretty simple?
Okay, so Gabby, I would like to, because I am the person that I usually deal with the vendors at that time. So one of the main concerns that persons have first is that they are trying to upload documents and they are getting probably an error message or a message saying that the document is not a true PDF, or they are trying to upload documents that are not PDF. Can you talk about that?
Okay, sure, thank you. All right, so like I said, in order for you to ensure the integrity of your bid responses, as well as to protect the security of the application, you are required to save your file as a PDF document, right? Normally, persons may be working in Word. You all are seeing my screen? Are you seeing a Word document?
No, we are still seeing the screen share of the e-tender.
Sure. Right. Good. So most likely you'll be submitting you're in a Word document right now, right? Like what you're seeing on the screen.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. In order for you to convert your document to a PDF document, it's very simple. You would just simply click on File, Save As. You select the location wherever you're saving the file, be it on your desktop, etc. And at this point where it says Save As Type, you would click on this drop down and select PDF. Once you do that, you just press Save, and your particular response would be saved as a PDF document. It will not accept, like I said, Word documents. But this is the way that you go about converting your Word documents or files into a PDF document. And the same thing can be followed for you to convert an Excel document into a PDF document. Kalisha?
Okay.
So it's really, I mean, it's more about persons just on their end knowing how to go about converting whatever document they're working in into a PDF document. But yeah.
Hi, Kalisha and Gabby. Just to follow up on what Gabby would have said. Kalisha, I know you would have also seen people trying to actually zip the PDFs and then upload it to the system.
Yeah.
So that's something we do not advise because it will not recognize it as a PDF itself. So vendors don't need to actually zip the files, they upload them individually or select all and then upload it to avoid that issue. The system actually compiles and compresses the documents into a zip file for you. So they don't need to do that before they upload.
Okay, great. That's great.
Okay. I can quickly show you, Kalisha, too, as well, for the benefits of everyone, how the system can allow you to upload multiple. Sorry, we can take any other questions, Kalisha, sorry.
Yeah, sure. Anyone has any questions, you can unmute and identify where you are from and ask the question.
Hi, morning.
Good morning.
Quick question. It's not the first time I'm applying or trying to register at one of these online platforms, right?
Sure.
And sometimes when you register, they say that they're gonna send a confirmation email, and the confirmation email never comes. So what happens in that instant? And two, could you give me some more information about the pre-qualification process, please? Thanks.
Sure, not a problem. Right, so before I get to the question, when my colleague Janine was mentioning, there's no need for you as a vendor to zip your files because you can upload multiple files on your application. As we can see, like I would have done here, say I've uploaded these 2 files and I want to add another file, I simply just click on the box and upload the other file that I have to. select it, press open, and it'll be automatically uploaded here, right? So you do see that you can add multiple individual files as well. So there's no need for you to zip the file beforehand. And it's a very simple process. All right, so to answer the question, thank you for your question. If it is that you don't receive email notification within the first 10 minutes or so of creating your account, I do advise that you would reach out to E-IDCOT. Usually, sometimes persons, depending on their internet or whatnot, there may be some delay in the communication in terms of when you actually receive the response, but the system would have sent out the confirmation email with your activation code automatically upon you completing the registration process. That part of it is not something that we can actually affect directly. So because I told you that you usually have about 15 minutes before the activation code expires, if 10 minutes have passed and you have not received an email, I would advise that you reach out to E-IDCOT and let them know that you would have created an account, give them the user, obviously your vendor information, and on their end, they would be able to verify that you did go through the process of completing the registration, and they will be able to activate the account for you. For the pre-qualification, I know that we would have had a pre-qualification session earlier this week. I believe the session was recorded as well. So that should be available for you, and I will just pass it over to Kalisha to address that question.
Yes, so the session on Wednesday was ready for those. We did have an exercise in 2019, and because of that overwhelming response, that is when we really decided to move over to the e-tender platform to make things faster, easier, more transparent. So that session on Wednesday was for those companies who would have taken part in that 2019 exercise. So our process right now is to get all of those persons through the system and pre-qualified. All right, so that would take us quite a few weeks to complete because it was over 200 companies. Now, for those persons who did not take part in that exercise in 2019, we just ask that you bear with us. We will get to open that up once we complete that exercise for those who would have been with us in 2019. So we are trying to move that along as quickly as possible so that we can, have you all signed up as well. There will be a cost to pre-qualify. We will be putting up that pre-qualification process, that webinar that we did on Wednesday, so that you can go through it and get yourself familiarized. So when that time comes, you will be able to, go through that process smoothly. So what we would ask is that in the meantime, all right, you can go ahead and just register your business on the platform, right? We would have done that in the beginning of this training here today. Just do the simple registration. So whenever the time comes for pre-qualification, again, your company would already be on the system. So we will be able to select you faster. All right, so we ask that you bear with us, and we will get to open that to the public again in a few weeks. All right, so let me know if that answers your question. Yes, the pre-qualification is a one-time cost. It is a one-time cost. All right, someone asked in the chat, seeing that they are unable to upload zipped files, what is the largest file size that they can upload?
All right, sure. So as you would see, the system notifies you that the max capacity here is 60 megabytes, which is very big. However, if E-IDCOT, depending on the nature of the tender, does require this file size to be extended, it is something that we can do as well. One thing I would have forgot to mention previously as well is that built into the application are user guides. So if it is you would require any additional information just on using eTender, once you log into the application, the guides are located to the top right-hand side of the screen. You simply click on it. You would see your bidder user guide, which is what you would use for finding out more information about participating in a tender. So the RFX like we're doing today. And there's also the user guide for the pre-qualification, how you'd go about responding to a pre-qual, right? So I'll just click on the guide so you can see quickly. Are you seeing the user guide here?
Yes.
Right, so as you would see, it's very detailed. It has screenshots throughout the document with simple instructions for you to follow. So very user-friendly as well. So don't feel like you have to get everything today. You can also, at your comfort, once you create your account, log onto the application and view the user guides as well to familiarize yourself some more with the process. Do you have any other questions?
Okay, so I have a concern that for the persons who, would have registered, we would not have completed that pre-qualification verification on our side. All right, so in the meantime, they're asking, how will they be eligible to do business, right? So at the moment, once you would have taken part in our process before, the category that you would have submitted under, if by chance that tender is a selective tender, you would be selected to take part. If the tender is an open tender, meaning that it's open to the public, anyone can apply. Gabby, you can confirm that they will, once I send an open tender, every person that is registered on the eTender platform will get an email stating that E-IDCOT has an open tender?
No, sorry? No, so once it's a public tender, everybody with an eTender account for E-IDCOT would be able to log onto their application and see that there's a tender that they can participate in, right? They will not receive email notifications unless it is when they registered, they clicked on the I button like I would have showed you previously, go to preferences and select the preference, so the categories to which you would like to be notified for. So say, for example, you are a furniture company and you know that you would like to receive email notifications on office furniture whenever E-IDCOT is going out for that. You click on this, and when a public tender happens, you will receive an email. If a vendor has not selected this preference, they will not receive the email notification. However, on E-IDCOT's website, they would have still posted that there is a tender, and then law obviously still requires you to make public notification via the newspapers as well that you would have had a tendering event open for furniture, and it will just direct persons to the application in order to view and respond if they so choose.
Okay, awesome. Well, then on our end, right, as I would have noted in our session on Wednesday, for this pre-qualification exercise, just as you mentioned, they need to choose the options. That would mean on our end, all of our categories would have to be listed and updated as well, right?
Yes, but that's a conversation that we can have offline. Yes,
right.
Alicia.
Yes, yes. So for persons who are asking, all right, so that process, we are rolling out that process, as I mentioned, for those who would have taken part in the 2019 exercise first. Other than that, we would be contacting you. Someone is asking, how soon can you register as a vendor? You can, like now, you can.
Yeah, you can go on right now and register.
Yeah.
As we speak.
Yes. Yes.
Using the URL which would have been provided to you before.
Yes, so you can go right ahead and register. We would really encourage you to go ahead and do that. It will be easier for you, and if all of your information, contact information, would be in there as well. Okay, any other questions? Okay, all right. So what I want to reiterate, registering on this system does not necessarily mean that you are pre-qualified, right? So there's a difference. It's two different processes, all right? But registering means that your company is logged in and registered. You have an account with us. As soon as the time comes for pre-qualification and that process would move through, you will be notified there. All right. In the interim, any tenders that we have going out now or any time in the future, once your company is identified in a certain category, we would reach out to you. It's selective at the moment, or for those that are open, you can always check back. And just as Gabby said, we would be posting on our Facebook pages, our website, any tender that we have open that you can apply for without that pre-qualification. All right. The average cost of pre-qualification, someone is asking, we have to update that cost, so I cannot commit to that cost as yet, but I know that it will not be more than $500 to pre-qualify. All right, most likely it will be less than that. I would have to confirm that new pre-qualification cost. And as we said, once you do it once, you don't have to go through that process again. All right. Just a point to note, if ever you are uploading, if you are taking part in a tender, I would like to reiterate, please do not wait until the last minute to try to upload your documents. That is where most of the challenges come in, when you realize that your documents are not uploading or the time is running away. I'd like to stress, try to submit your documents either the day before or a few hours well in advance of the closing of the tender. Okay.
So one of the option that I didn't share is that when you say, for example, again, that you want to edit your tender, right? On the navigation screen, the tender options here, you would get to click on uploaded tenders and see the list of all the tenders that you would have uploaded and responded to. It says the status of it. So if it is you would have submitted a bid and you're uncertain on if it is your completion was successful, you would come to this tab here, tender options, uploaded tenders, and view the status to see that it was complete. If it says incomplete, then you know you need to go back in and address it in terms of making sure that you click on the toggle where it said data verified. So editing the tender, you'd come to the tender options, click on the particular tender that you want to edit your response. And like I said, you would go through the process, accepting the terms. You would see the pricing information that you would have entered previously. The last edit I made was $3,000. It's still there. If it is, I don't want to change the price, it will stay constant, right? However, I am required to upload the file again. I click next, and this is the part here that you need to make sure that you click on. If it is you go back in, like I just did, and I did not click on this data verified, my status would show as incomplete.
Yes, as it shows on my end, I always try to be efficient and check the status if I know we have a tender open and reach out, but I'm not always able to do that. So that step that you just did is very, very critical for persons to ensure that they verify before they complete the submission.
All right.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we do have our parks department, our projects department, our lead investor sourcing department on hand, just in case you have any question that deals with doing business with E-IDCOT, any general questions outside of the e-tender. You can ask your questions. If not, we would begin to wrap up. You have any questions? Okay, so thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Janine, for being with us today. Thank you all the attendees who would have asked your questions and be a part of today's session. This replay would be available to you soon. You can go back to our Facebook page and review it. It will also be up on our website shortly. And if you have any questions at all, you can always email us and we will be sure to answer your questions. Okay, so thank you all so much for taking part today. Do have a great, great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Janine.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend.